Decide today. Conquer tomorrow. Every great destiny begins with a decision, not a wish, not a hope, not a half-hearted attempt, but a decision so absolute that it burns every bridge behind you, leaving only one path forward, the path to greatness. You see, the world does not reward the hesitant. It does not hand victory to the man or woman who stands trembling at the edge of their own potential, waiting for the perfect moment. The perfect moment does not exist. Tomorrow is not promised. The only thing you own with certainty is this single day, this very hour, this fleeting moment in which you can declare, I decide today. Therefore, I will conquer tomorrow. Look back at history, at the giants whose shadows still stretch across time. Thomas Edison failed thousands of times in the darkness before the first flicker of light. Henry Ford was ridiculed, laughed out of meetings, called a fool for dreaming of a car for the common man. Abraham Lincoln tasted failure, heartbreak, defeat, and despair more times than most men would survive. And yet, when the moment demanded courage, he stood like a pillar against the storm and reshaped the destiny of a nation. What separated them from the countless, nameless millions who lived and died unnoticed? It was not genius alone. It was not resources or privilege or some mystical stroke of luck. It was the decision to persist where others quit, to act where others delayed, to believe where others doubted. Understand this: the human mind is the greatest factory of wealth, of power, of miracles, and like any factory, it must be put to work. Thoughts are the raw materials of your future. Every doubt, every fear, every excuse, they pollute the assembly line. But every vision, every bold declaration, every unshakable belief, they shape and mold the finished product of your destiny. Most people live their entire lives as prisoners of hesitation. They say they'll begin one day. They wait for motivation, for approval, for some divine signal that never comes. And so they drift year after year, decade after decade, until the fire that once burned in their chest becomes nothing more than ash. But those who decide, those who dare to say, I will not wait another day, those are the ones who rise. Those are the ones who command tomorrow. Success is never an accident. It is engineered, brick by brick, by disciplined action. Every fortune has behind it a man or woman who woke up one day and said, enough. I will no longer live small. I will no longer crawl when I was born to soar. I will no longer accept a life dictated by fear. And once that decision is made, the universe itself bends to meet it. Opportunities appear where before there were none. The right people are drawn to you as if carried by invisible threads. What was once chaos begins to arrange itself into order. This is not superstition. This is the law of the mind, the eternal principle that energy flows where intention goes. But deciding is only the spark. The flame must be fed with discipline, with relentless focus, with a vision so clear you can see it when you close your eyes at night. You must live as though your dream were already real. Walk with the confidence of the future you desire. Speak with the conviction of the leader you are becoming. Act with the certainty of a general who knows the battle is already won. Do you think Andrew Carnegie became the steel magnate by waiting for the right economy? Do you believe Walt Disney carved a kingdom out of swampland by listening to the doubters? Do you think Steve Jobs redefined technology because the world encouraged him? No. Each one made a decision that rang like thunder in the chambers of their soul. This will be done. And so I ask you, what decision have you been avoiding? What dream have you chained in the dungeon of delay? How many tomorrows have you sacrificed on the altar of hesitation? Because here is the truth. You are not waiting for the perfect time. You are avoiding the discomfort of commitment. You are bargaining with your own potential, trading eternity for ease. And while you hesitate, the sands of your life run silently through the hourglass, grain by grain, until the day arrives when there is no more time left to decide. Today is the day. This is the hour. This is the moment when you rise. When you say with unshakable authority, I decide today. I conquer tomorrow. The mind is a battlefield. Every morning you awaken, an invisible war begins. One voice whispers of doubt, reminding you of every failure, every weakness, every time you stumbled. The other voice calls you higher, urging you toward purpose, toward greatness, toward the life you secretly know belongs to you. Which voice wins? Always the one you decide to obey. Do not misunderstand. Belief is not passive. Belief is an act of war. It is choosing to stand when fear commands you to kneel. It is declaring victory when the scoreboard says you are behind. It is choosing to light a torch in the darkness when others curse the night. When Edison built his first prototypes, they failed. Again and again, glass shattered, filaments burned, investors withdrew. Yet he declared, I have not failed. I've simply discovered thousands of ways that will not work. That is belief in action. That is the decision to conquer tomorrow by standing unbroken today. But belief without clarity is a ship without a compass. You must define your aim as precisely as an archer marks his target. Vague wishes birth vague results. I want success, says the dreamer, yet he cannot define it. I want wealth, says another, but wealth without purpose becomes poison. What do you truly want? Not what your friends want, not what society wants, not what fear allows you to want, but what your soul aches for in the silence of the night. Until you define it, the mind cannot build it. A builder cannot construct without a blueprint, and the mind is the builder of your destiny. So write it down, speak it aloud, fix it so clearly in your imagination that it becomes more real than the circumstances around you. Napoleon Hill wrote, whatever the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve. But the conceiving must be vivid, and the believing must be absolute. Once vision is set, discipline becomes the guardrail. Without discipline, even the strongest dream will drift into oblivion. Discipline is the art of doing what must be done, especially when the fire of excitement fades. It is rising before dawn when the bed pleads with you to stay. It is studying when others are entertained. It is sowing when there is no harvest in sight. Discipline is the quiet architect of empires. Look at Carnegie, who started as a poor immigrant son, working 12 hours a day for $2 a week. He did not stumble into fortune. He disciplined himself to learn, to observe, to seize opportunity where others saw none. He turned discipline into wealth, and wealth into influence that changed the very steel bones of the modern world. And yet, discipline alone is not enough. For life will test you, storms will rise, economies will crash, betrayals will wound you, failures will humble you. Success is not found in the absence of these trials, but in the refusal to surrender to them. Resilience is the iron shield of the conqueror. Walt Disney faced bankruptcy more than once. His ideas were stolen, his studio laughed at, his vision of Disneyland mocked as foolish. Yet he pressed on because his dream was not a passing fancy. It was carved into his very identity. That is resilience. That is the refusal to let tomorrow be conquered by the failures of today. You must be adaptable too. Rigid trees snap in the storm, but the flexible bend and rise again. The world changes, technology evolves, economies shift. If you cling only to yesterday's methods, tomorrow will leave you behind. But if you adapt, if you learn, if you keep your vision steady while adjusting your path, nothing can stop you. Remember, every obstacle carries within it the seed of equal or greater advantage. Hill wrote this truth not as poetry, but as law. That setback you hate, that closed door you curse, may be the very turning point that forces you onto a higher path. Do not despise difficulty. Mine it like gold, for hidden within is the raw material of your destiny. Gratitude, too, is power. The ungrateful heart is blind to opportunity, but the grateful mind multiplies what it has. When you thank life for its blessings, no matter how small, you align yourself with abundance. Gratitude is not weakness. It is recognition that you are already in possession of seeds that can grow into a forest of wealth, influence, and impact. So decide today not only to chase dreams, but to master the disciplines, to embrace resilience, to adapt, to learn, to give thanks even as you build. Decide today to be the one who conquers tomorrow, not by chance, but by conscious, deliberate, unbreakable resolve. Action is the bridge between thought and reality. You can dream with unparalleled intensity, visualize with crystal clarity, and believe with unshakable conviction. But if you do not act, your visions will dissolve like mist at dawn. Henry Ford did not sit in his garage imagining a Model T. He built it, welded it, tested it, failed, rebuilt, and persisted until the automobile reshaped the world. Action is the relentless heartbeat of success. Without it, even the greatest mind is nothing more than potential wasted. But action alone is not enough. It must be intelligent, guided by purpose. Random hustle is a fool's parade. Every step you take must march toward your defined target. Every effort synchronized with your vision. Every move a note in the symphony of your destiny. The men who built empires did not flail blindly in the dark. They calculated, they observed, they adapted. They understood that effort without direction is just motion, not progress. You must cultivate clarity. A mind clouded by indecision is like a ship in fog, destined to crash on unseen rocks. Every decision you make should flow from absolute certainty. When Lincoln chose to preserve the Union, he did so with clarity of purpose, understanding that compromise with mediocrity would cost lives and legacy. When Edison chose to illuminate the world, he did so with unwavering focus on the goal, ignoring ridicule, distractions, and despair. Clarity converts hesitation into power. It transforms uncertainty into the energy that propels empires. Yet clarity and action alone are not enough. You must embrace the fires of discomfort. The path to conquest is never cushioned with ease. Every master, every innovator, every giant in history has faced pain, criticism, and doubt. Walt Disney was mocked for envisioning a world of animated dreams. Oprah Winfrey faced rejection and abuse before rising to a throne of influence. Every trial is a test, and every test is an invitation to rise beyond who you were yesterday. Do not shrink from it. Step into it. Let the heat refine you. Let adversity sculpt you into someone unbreakable, unstoppable, and unforgettable. Discipline is the engine. Resilience is the fuel. Clarity is the compass. Belief is the spark. Action is the bridge. Gratitude is the anchor. And together, they form the unstoppable force that transforms ordinary men and women into legends. Do you think Carnegie felt content merely because he had steel and money? No. He pursued knowledge, cultivated partnerships, invested wisely, and sought purpose beyond profit. Success is a living, breathing entity. You must feed it. Knowledge without application is vanity. Applied knowledge is power. You will face fear. You will face doubt. You will face voices telling you to settle, to compromise, to diminish yourself. Listen to them if you must, only to laugh at their ignorance and double your efforts. Fear is the mind's shadow, growing larger only when you refuse to move. Step forward, act anyway, decide anyway, and it will shrink into nothing. Courage is not the absence of fear. It is the relentless march forward. In spite of it, the most extraordinary lives are not built in comfort. They are forged in the crucible of decision, action, and perseverance. They rise from the ashes of failure, the whispers of doubt, the nights of uncertainty. They are the ones who, when the world told them stop, said, "I will not stop. I cannot stop. I was born to move forward." And now, consider this. The life you have imagined, the greatness you have dreamt of, the impact you long to make. It does not wait for you to be ready. It does not linger while you hesitate. It moves forward, indifferent to excuses. The bridge to tomorrow is built today, and the first brick is the decision you make right now. Decide, commit, act. Decide today that mediocrity will no longer define you. Decide today that fear will no longer dictate your choices. Decide today that excuses have no home in your mind. Decide today that the future you want is worth every ounce of effort, every moment of discomfort, every risk, and every sacrifice. Because when you do, you will discover something remarkable. The world bends to resolve. Doors will open that seemed locked. Ideas will flow with clarity. People will align with your mission. Opportunity will chase you, not because life owes you, but because your mind has become a force too powerful to ignore. Now, imagine yourself standing at the edge of your own potential, staring into the abyss of what could be. The air trembles with possibilities. Behind you lies the comfort of the known, safe, small, familiar, but it is also silent, unremarkable, ordinary. Ahead, the path is unpaved, jagged, uncertain, and yet it glimmers with promise. That path is your life. waiting to be seized by the hand of the resolute, the courageous, the relentless. To take that step is to declare war on mediocrity and to embrace the life that destiny has reserved only for those bold enough to claim it. Every titan of history knew this truth instinctively. Abraham Lincoln endured defeats, humiliation, and heartbreak. Yet he chose again and again to walk toward the work that would save a nation. Walt Disney was fired for lacking imagination, mocked for believing in dreams. Yet he persisted until his vision became reality. Edison faced failure so monumental that most would have surrendered. Yet he refused to let temporary defeat dictate permanent failure. The law is unchanging. Those who decide to act, persist, and believe will always conquer tomorrow. It is not luck. It is not fate. It is the natural consequence of aligning thought, belief, and action. The mind is a factory, and every decision, every act, every discipline, every moment of focus is a cog in the machinery of your destiny. Do not squander it. Do not defer it. Do not dilute it. You are the master architect of your tomorrow, and every thought you harbor, every choice you make, sculpts the life you will live. Do not wait for permission. Do not wait for motivation. Do not wait for clarity to descend from the heavens. Clarity comes from action. Courage comes from movement. Power comes from the relentless accumulation of small, disciplined acts performed daily. Decide today, and your future begins its motion. Decide today, and the world begins to align with your vision. Decide today, and the impossible begins to bend into your reach. You will encounter obstacles. They are inevitable. You will meet doubt. It is relentless. You will confront fear. It will howl in your ears. But remember this: the greater the resistance, the more profound the victory. Every setback contains within it the blueprint for a comeback. Every failure contains the seed of mastery. Every dark night contains the dawn of opportunity. To retreat is to surrender. To advance is to rise. Choose to rise. Choose to conquer. The discipline to act, the resilience to persist, the clarity to focus, the courage to face fear, the gratitude to appreciate every step. These are not optional. They are the instruments of triumph. They are the tools with which empires are forged, visions are realized, and ordinary lives are transformed into legacies that echo through time. Your mind, disciplined and decisive, is more powerful than armies, more enduring than wealth, more influential than circumstance. Train it, feed it, command it. Let it serve your vision with absolute allegiance. And now, in this very moment, recognize the power you possess. Within you lies the capacity to rise higher than you have ever imagined, to achieve more than you have ever dared to believe, to conquer challenges that seem insurmountable, and to create a legacy that will outlast the fleeting passage of time. This power is awakened the instant you make a decision. A decision not tomorrow, not next week, not someday, but today. Decide today to be relentless. Decide today to honor your potential. Decide today to take complete responsibility for your life. Decide today to act when others hesitate, to endure when others falter, to create when others watch. Decide today, because tomorrow belongs only to those who have claimed it in advance. History remembers the decisive. It remembers the bold. It remembers the ones who would not be denied, who refused to compromise, who refused to shrink when confronted with the magnitude of their own dreams. And you can be one of them, not by chance, not by luck, not by waiting, but by the singular, unwavering act of choosing, deciding, and acting today with all the power of your mind, heart, and soul. So rise, stand now, declare it. Let the world hear your decision. Let your mind feel the surge of commitment. Let your heart embrace the fire of purpose. Decide today, and every action you take from this moment forward will build the life you were born to live. Decide today, and you will conquer tomorrow. Decide today, for hesitation is the enemy of destiny, and action is the currency of greatness. This is your moment. This is your life. This is your decision, and the world will bend before the will of the unshakable, the resolute, the courageous, and the relentless. Decide today, conquer tomorrow. So rise, stand now, declare it. Let the world hear your decision. Let your mind feel the surge of commitment. Let your heart embrace the fire of purpose. Decide today, and every action you take from this moment forward will build the life you were born to live. Decide today, and you will conquer tomorrow if you're ready to take the next step. Subscribe and join a community of relentless doers, because your journey to greatness begins now. Decide today, conquer tomorrow.